book friends. Welcome back to Books I Read. I'm Sheila and I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for joining me today. How are you guys all doing? How are you guys hanging in there in quarantine? Unfortunately, I am not quarantined because I work at a grocery store. So I am one of the essential workers. Not as important as doctors and nurses, that's for sure. But still important because everybody needs to eat or buy food, right? Right. And how does that work out for me? That's very stressful. The anxiety is so high. So high. But those of you who are out there already know this, that are essential workers too. You know, banks, food banks, sanitation workers, police officers, fire departments, obviously, like I said, doctors and nurses. Wasn't it Doctors or Nurses Day, the 1st or the 31st or something like that? So I like to say, even though I have not had to use any doctors or nurses at this time, thankfully, hope I don't have to, thankfully, thank you so much for being out there, risking your lives to save ours. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that so very much. I know it is very devastating what's going on right now. It's horrible. In my area, when I go to work, it seems like people are still trying to live their normal life instead of staying in quarantine, which is scary. And as far as I know, it has hit our county. So far, no deaths. And I'm not sure about confirmed cases, so I'm not going to say at this time because I'm not sure. I haven't read the paper or anything like that. So, but so far, we're hanging in there just like everybody else. I know obviously some other states and counties are getting hit a whole lot harder. So, oh, that's a lot. That's a lot. All right. Anyway, let's move on something to something. Let's move on to something more cheery, something to take our minds off of it. I am doing okay. I'm hanging in there. My family is doing okay and hanging in there. I've read a lot because reading is really helping me at home and trying to keep as much normal as I possibly can and at work. And if I can't listen to an audiobook, then I do have a regular book and I'm just taking my phone. And I have my phone sitting there where I can either look down and read a book or later possibly listen to it if the opportunity arises, because it does slow down at some point in time. People do go back to their lockup or lockdown, whatever it's called, self-quarantine, quarantine, you know what I mean. But anyway, let's do a tea because I do have some hot water. And yes, I know tea doesn't solve everything, but it does help with my anxiety because I still have to go out there. And on my days off like today, I like to just try and decompress and, you know, just make myself feel better, I guess. So which one do we want to do today? Let's do Blueberry Merlot. How about that? Because it's, see how I mark them off, the ones that I know that we've done, and then the ones that I've really liked and so liked. That's how I've labeled them. The Blueberry Merlot is an herb tea. It is an award-winning herbal blend with sweet berries and savory sage. So let's do that one. Okay, I have to pull these up so I can see. Blueberry Merlot. So cute. All right, and we're going to set that over there. So, other than going to work and getting groceries, things are good. Things are hanging in there. There's our little, oh, not bad. As you can see, I folded some of these triangles inside out now and just set them there. All right, while that steeps, we're going to talk about some books. Let's do that. The first book that I finished since I last talked to you guys was Outrun the Moon by Stacey Lee. I kept calling it Outrun the Race. I have no idea why. I gave this book 4 stars. And I do have it pulled up because it's been a hot minute since I finished it. March 25th, I believe, is when I finished reading it. And it was so worth reading. I enjoyed the story. It did put me on a roller coaster of different emotions. And the girl in here is Asian, and she wants to go to this academy that back in this period of time, I forget what year it is, 1906, I think, or something like that. I don't know. But it's taking place in the, you know, farther back in the past. It was well done. I felt. I did read it with the audio. I followed along with the audio. I loved it. It was great. It really brought the story to life for me. And Mercy and her voice and her feeling, excuse me, her emotions and her feelings and stuff like that. It was really good. I don't know why this book isn't more read. I really don't know why. I think it's good on diversity as well. I think it was wrote. I can talk. It was wrote very well, and the story was good. I mean, it's not like this like over the top kind of story, like wow, like gripping, but it was a nice, enjoyable story. An earthquake happens, and you get to see how they pull together and how does diversity matter in that situation? You know what I'm saying? So it was just really, really good. The narrator was good, and Mercy is such a wonderful character. I really enjoyed being a part of the story. It was a good, true, inspiring, feel-good book. So I'd recommend people reading this one. Alrighty, what was the next one I read? I read Goodbye Stranger, and these are all off my shelf, as I told you guys that I wanted to read more books off my shelf. Now, this book got high ratings. I'm not sure why everyone thought this book was so much higher rated than I gave it. I'm not sure. Because I said I'm not sure what it was all about, this book, but it was just meh for me. I mean, it was a fun little story, while I was listening to it, because I listened to it while I played Bingo Bash, because I collect the free bingo chips every day. I collect those and then I save them up, and then I will take a week or whatever and maybe play a little bit that week, or if I have a day off or something like that. Okay, I know I got sidetracked with Bingo Bash, but I love Bingo Bash. But I just save the Bingo Bash chips and I use those. I don't buy them. But this book just, I don't know, it just wasn't over the top for me. I don't even remember all that this book was about. That's how impacting it was. Bridge is an accident survivor who's wondering why she's still alive. I don't know. It just wasn't over the top for me, as you can tell. And I finished reading this book, I think, on March 28th. And I can't remember that much about it because it didn't really impact me that much. I honestly don't know. I guess if you just want one of those stories that you're just like, okay, I just want to read a book, but I just feel like, I don't know. This one made more of a difference in my brain than the last one, than Goodbye Strangers. This one made more of an impact. And I think it was just because of the story, the concept of the story, and what I kept thinking. And this one got low ratings, which I'm surprised this one got lower ratings than this one, because this one I felt like had a little bit more of a, I don't know, interesting storyline or grabbing storyline, and this one wasn't really that great either, but this one I'm bored. I don't know, I was bored. Alright, well anyway, this one I just physically read, because there was no audiobook. And I did give it 3 stars. So it got the same amount of stars as this one, but this one was just meh. Where this one made a little bit, the story stuck more. It wasn't my favorite, however, it does have a storyline that I usually don't enjoy. Can't tell you because then I may spoil it for you. So I don't want to spoil it for you. But you may enjoy this story if you like creatures. I guess. Can I tell you that? Yeah, if you like sea creatures, you might like it. And you'll know what I mean as you read the story, because I just don't want to spoil it for you. Callie has seen her mother drown, or did her mother drown? That's the question. Callie hasn't felt right or been right since her mother's drowning, and no one can just tell her what is going on about her family and or her family's background. I didn't like her father in the story, because why didn't he just tell her? Why didn't he just say, hey, sit her down and tell her background and her aunt? That's where I felt like the story fell for me, because her aunt nor her father would tell her anything about her background, and it was like a guessing game for Callie, and she didn't know why she was feeling this way, that way, or this or that. Like I said, I don't want to spoil it for you, but it was a good storyline. I just wish the characters, her aunts and her father, would have just told her. I don't get it. So either way, I just felt Callie has to find out piece by piece, you know, about herself, what's missing, that kind of thing. And I still feel like, even towards the end, I feel like, did she really figure herself out? Did she really know? Did she finally get it? I don't know. It wasn't a horrible book, but it wasn't great or gripping. But I do remember the storyline on this one a whole lot more, because it was impacting, because I'm like, are they ever going to tell her? Are they ever going to fill her in? So I just didn't care for the end, because I still feel like she was left with unanswered, no answers, you know, questions with no answers. So that was kind of a drag. And then the next book I read, we should try this tea now, shouldn't we? Yes, I think we should. It's okay. It's alright. Not my favorite. It's just okay. I don't really... It's like a hint of blueberries. I don't know. I don't really care for that one. It's not my favorite. I've had a blueberry one way better than that one. And I think it was by private selection, actually, through Kroger's. But that one, I think the green tea mango or green mango peach has been my most favorite one so far. I think I've had two. But anyway, the next book that I read is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. And I read that one because I was watching another booktuber, Katie Likes Books. I think I will put it up in the iCard somewhere. I forget her channel's name, or Katie's Book Date. I think it's Katie's Book Date. I'm mixing up two other channels. But anyway, I'm pretty sure it's Katie's Book Date, but I will put it up in the eye and or in the description. I will put her channel below, because I was watching her channel one day just to get book recommendations, see what's out there, see what's new, because most of the booktubers do read more new releases and stuff like that I don't read. So she had suggested this book. She had read it in one of her reading vlogs and suggested reading it, so I decided to read it. Actually, I went on my One Library app, they had it, and it was an audio, so I listened to it. The audio is really good. Katie is right. I think she listened to the audio and read along with it or something like that as well. But I do know she listened to the audio too, and it is really neat. Like Katie said, it's really neat to hear the interviews and stuff like that. It really brings the book to life. So if you can follow along with the audio, it's pretty, I mean, I think that would make it better. I just listened to the audio because I don't own the book, and I couldn't get the book and the audio at the same time. So, but I did give it 4 stars. I think Katie gave it 5 stars, but actually I gave it 4.5 in my description, because you can't give half stars on Goodreads. But I gave it 4.5 in the description. It says I listened to the audio and it was really great. The interviews were so good. This book recommendation was definitely worth reading if you enjoy a good mystery. It was really good. Pippa's project she chooses for school is to find out what really happened to 2 kids or 2 teenagers in her town. That's her school project she's doing. And how they died. You know, why did they die? How did they die? What happened? That kind of thing. Does she figure it out, and at what cost? I'm not going to tell you, obviously. And the twist and or the ending was pretty neat. It was really good. I have to say, if I ever found that book inexpensively, because you guys know I'm frugal. I'm really frugal when it comes to my books. I don't like to pay more than $2 or $3 if I can help it. $3.79 to be specific. But I did purchase a book for $4.27. Womp womp womp. On Amazon, but that's because it was Katie's first book. Katie has a book out through Amazon. You can't get it anywhere else that I've seen it. And let me see if I can bring it up for you. It's called The Sweetest Kind of Poison. Let me see. There we go. It is called The Sweetest Kind of Poison. It is a poetry book. It is very short. I do not think, because it was so short, not because of the content, but because of how short it was, I do not believe it was worth $4.27 because it was so short. However, the content in it, the poetry, the way it was wrote, the verse, the feelings and emotions and experience that she is sharing in it, I think is very, very excellent. That's why I gave it 4.5 stars, 4.5 stars in the description, because I think everybody goes through it at some point in time, unless you're lucky enough not to. So I think the content and or the experience she shared was really awesome, because she hit it, you know, the nail on the head kind of thing. Those are emotions and things that you feel when something like that happens. So I thought it was really excellent. I thought she did a great job on it, and it's poetry. So, I mean, how do you, I don't know. I find sometimes that, I know there's bad poetry, but sometimes I feel like, how can it be bad if it's somebody's experience and emotions? You know what I'm saying? So, but I think Katie did really good on it. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I just don't, like I said, it was just so short. I did want more, but, you know, hey. But she did really good, is my point. And it was worth it. I mean, it was worth reading it, I do believe. Because I do believe geared towards young adult, and that's what I believe it was. Geared towards young adult and somebody going through it. I do feel like you're sitting down with a friend or a sister, and they're saying, you know, I know you went through this. You have every right to feel that way, but you're going to be okay. So that was really good. And I did get ahead of myself because I read that, and I was going to include that in this video. And then, of course, the Good Girl's Guide to Murder. So those are the other two books that I've read. So I've already hit those ones. And this one, Katie's book, I read last night. I'm waiting for her new book to come out. I'm not sure what it's called. Something like the Anti-Virginity Pack? I don't know. I will put the title up here because I can't remember. So I will put it up here. Her new book comes out in June, and June 12th, June 15th, anyway, somewhere around there. Let's move on. So I already showed about that one, and I already showed about that one. So let's move on. Where is that book? Oh, here it is. I finally finished and read Incarcerate. I am so excited. I am so excited. It does have lower ratings on Goodreads. It's like 3.64. I gave it 3 stars. I gave it 3.5 in the description. I'm not usually big on fantasy. I'm very specific with my fantasy. I don't know. I do like the magic in there. What can I compare it to that a fantasy that I really, really enjoyed? Probably Nancy Whipple's, there's 2 books that are very similar. House of Ivy and Sorrows, I'm pretty sure. I really like that book. A lot of people didn't like it, but I really enjoyed that book. So I would have to say that. I would compare it to that, you know, because that's my highest fantasy. My other highest fantasy would probably be, I don't know. I can't think off the top of my head. But anyway, I read Incarcerate. I read this one. I liked it, and or let's see. What did I say? This is one that I happen to just enjoy. Not over the top, not real gripping, but I did enjoy reading it. It wasn't like dragging. I did read it pretty fast, especially the first half. I blew through it. So that's good. That's how I kind of figure out if a fantasy is like grabbing me or not. Because I know, like, some of them will grab me and then they get really dry. It like goes down, you know. And then sometimes it goes back up, or sometimes it just goes down and never goes back up. This one just kind of, it escalated and then it just leveled out for me. So I gave it 3.5. It wasn't over the top, but it was still interesting and an enjoyable read. I listened to it and followed along with the audio. Will Claudia figure out where Incarcerate is? Is her father, okay, right. Is her father her friend or foe? Will she discover how to save Finn? And if she discovers how to save Finn, will she save him or not? And then what do we have to look forward to in book 2? And all I'm going to say is I have no idea, because I don't know when I'm going to read book 2. Safik, or whatever, however you say that. I don't know when I'm going to read it because I have really no strong desire to move on to book 2 to find out what happens to her and Finn. I really don't. So, I don't know. Maybe one day I will, maybe I won't. I don't know. It's just not something that I would be like, yes, I want to go into book 2. It's not like that for me. But it was okay. I mean, alright. And then the next book I read, I already told you about. And then the one after that, I finished this one, The Woman in Cabin 10. This book was a 3-star for me. It was just, meh. It's just okay. I guess if you're looking for a simple mystery, this might give you that. You know, you're not looking for anything, you know, real, super fantastic. You're just looking for, like, this casual, simple mystery. This might cut it for you. Not my favorite mystery, but it was okay. It wasn't over the top, but it did hold my attention through the shift at work because I listened and followed along to, I think, the first 12 chapters or so, or part 1 at home, part 1 and 2 at home, something like that, and then I finished it at work, and it was okay. It was good to listen to at work. I guess if you're, like, cleaning the house, or you're cooking, or something like that, and you're like, I just want to listen to a simple, basic mystery, this might do it. I understand what some people say about Ruth Ware's characters, how you really don't feel attached to them, and I felt like Lo, the character in this book, I don't know, she felt kind of, I don't know, like she had an attitude all the time, and I'm like, what is it with the attitude, you know, I don't know. I just didn't really care for her. I mean, some of the characters, it was like, I don't know. Wasn't my favorite, just a meh. I don't hate it like some people do, but it was okay for work to keep my mind focused on what I needed to do and to be there. Alrighty. And I guess maybe if you were just reading it for enjoyment, though, you might be a little disappointed. I could see that. Alright, and then the last book that I have read and finished, which I've already read. This is my second time reading this book. I listened to some of it and followed along, and then some of it I just listened to. This is book 2 in Wanderers, or the Wasteland series. You know, I read book 1 not too long ago. I left it at a 5 stars, but after reading it this second time, I'd probably give it more like 4 stars. It's not as over the top for me as it was the first time. But I did leave it at 5 stars because the first time I read it, it gave me the... I really enjoyed it the first time I read it. Maybe it's because I read it for the second time and it just didn't hit me the same way because I already knew what was going to happen, you know. But the first time I read it, I said, even though that this was a book 2 and I read it before I realized there was a book 1, I was able to connect with the characters, and Esther, she's pretty cool, and she just gets cooler. Especially if you read book 1 and then book 2, she does get a lot cooler in book 2. If you pick up book 2 like I did, she's already cool. And her friend Scar is the variant. I think that's what she's called. I'm not sure what she's called. I forget what type of people they are called. So Scar the variant is pretty cool. I like her. She's pretty interesting too. They live in a town, obviously, where people are dying. Something has happened, and I think it was an earthquake is my recollection. There was an earthquake, caused a lot of... the water's contaminated, that kind of thing. Anyway, no adults exist, or do they? No adults exist anymore, so they think. And then Esther has no choice but to become a leader, although she never had to be. They must travel to find new land, and their journey takes everyone on an adventure. Esther is wise and strong beyond her years, but only realizes it that much later in the book. The journey is amazing with Esther and her friend Scar and their group of people. I truly enjoyed the book. Let's see, and I decided to reread this book, as you guys know, as I just said. This was my second read, and I said after reading the book for the second time, I still feel it's a good book, and everything I said before, it just wasn't as over the top or gripping for me this time. It was really great to listen to and occasionally follow along with. I'm thoroughly excited to read book 3 now. I am so stoked to read book 3 now because I really want to know what's going to happen with Esther. Because at the end of this book, you're like, no way. So that's interesting. So I have the third book. It's right here. I do have the audio, so I'm going to follow along. Hopefully I can get this read today because I would really like to see what's going on with Esther. And is her name Scar? I can't remember her name. But anyway, with her in her front, I like to see it because at the end of this book is like, holy, really? Oh, what's Esther going to do? What's she going to think? So that's interesting. So again, 4 or 5 stars, somewhere in there, 4.5. I do enjoy the book or the trilogy so far, the 2 books that I've read, but this one is definitely better. But we'll see about this third book. I'm anxious. All right, now what else would I still like to read? I would still like to read Carvel. I'd still like to read this. I tried to read this last April and didn't get anywhere. So I do have the audiobook. I got it from the library app. So I'm hoping to get that read because I said that I wanted to read more fantasy in April. And I started reading Peter Mon's book with him because he's reading it on his book channel. That's what I'm trying to say. He's reading it on his book channel, Peter Likes Books. I'll put it either up here, I'll put it in the description, and or both. So if you want to go listen to him read his book, you can. It's all there. So far he has it all up. I believe he just finished with chapter 21. I don't know. The last video I heard was chapter 7. I'm going on chapter 17. So hopefully I kind of wait until he makes a few videos and then I'll go up there so I can knock out like 4 or 5 chapters or something like that at a time. So it's really awesome though, Peter reading his book and sharing that, and I love following along. It's helped me fall asleep, you know, like calm my mind so I can fall asleep. I've been watching a lot of, how do you say it, mukbang videos, because those are helping me fall asleep because I think about food instead. And then, like I said, listening to Peter read and then watching a mukbang video, it helps me sleep because I'm still on my flex shift. Like this week, I'm on mornings all week. So it is helping with the flex shift because I was so excited about doing the flex shift until all this happened. Now it's a little different. And then when I'm on nights, it's just helpful going to work. You know what I'm saying? All right. And then my birthday is coming up soon. Not quite yet, but soon. Next month. So I have bought myself... No, I did not. I bought myself one book, which was The Sweetest Kind of Poison. But I guess you could say, well, it's not buying it if you're not paying money for it, right? I have downloaded some books for myself for free off of BookBub. You know how BookBub takes you... I don't know if you guys are familiar with BookBub. If you're not, I'll put it in the description below. You can go visit BookBub, make yourself a free account, and then they have ebook deals that are either 99 cents or really cheap or they're free. I do a lot of the free ones. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I got 9 books off of BookBub for free for my birthday. So, yay, but you don't have to just do it for your birthday. They'll tell you they're free. It'll say free or limited time free. And you can click on it and voila, anybody can get them. So, but I did it for my birthday because the only thing that I'm bringing in the house right now are groceries. So that's it. I'm not having anything shipped or anything like that because, well, I just don't want to do that right now. I'm just doing ebooks. So I just feel like it's safer right now, obviously. But anyway, that is all that I've read so far. Woo, that's a lot. That was a lot to share in this video. So this is going to be a long video. So I am going to go ahead and close this one out and probably make another one because I have a book haul from February when a coworker gave me a bunch of books, and I was going to share that with you guys a long time ago, but I just left them in the van because I told you I didn't want to bring them all in the house. So I'll put the video in the iCard that I mentioned that in. But I've had them in my van since February. So I'd like to go through those and show you those, or the ones that I've kept. And then I do have a birthday present that my husband, I picked it out at Goodwill, but my husband got me for my birthday, which I'd like to share with you too. And then today we are making homemade pizza, so maybe I can share my homemade pizza with you guys, because that is just so yummy. So yummy, right? All right, anyway, I hope this was enjoyable and or fun. It's really hard for me to share right now because of everything that's going on. I don't want to be too sad. I feel like it's wrong to come on here, to turn the camera on a book channel and be too sad, too happy, to this, to that. I don't know. It's really hard to know. I know people say, well, I want you to be real, but yet you don't want to bring everybody else down. And then you don't want to be too happy because then everybody's like, how can you be so happy in a time like this? Exactly. You know, I don't know. I have no idea, but I hope this was enjoyable. If anything, maybe I'll help you go to sleep. Maybe you don't really care about the books. Maybe just me talking will help you relax and just go to sleep. That would be great, because I know some people are having a really hard time going to sleep, or they're having no trouble going to sleep and they're sleeping a lot. So y'all just take care. Take very good care. Do your best. Stay self-quarantined or quarantined. Stay in lockdown. Stay home if you can. Only go out for groceries. Stay home. Stay home. It will help. Stay home. And I guess I will see you next time on Books I Read. Bye!